Story of Queen Esther. The narrative of the book of Esther centers on Esther, a Jewish orphan who rises to become Persia's queen. When Esther's cousin Mordecai discovers a scheme to exterminate the Jews, she takes a risk and approaches the king. Disclosing who she is, she outwits the cunning Haman, resulting in his destruction and her people's deliverance. In this video, we will delve into deep exploration of Queen Esther's story. Number 7. King Ahasuerus and the search for a new queen. The narrative takes place in King Ahasuerus' opulent court, where he rules over the vast and potent Persian Empire. Known for leading an opulent life, the king entertains nobles and officials from all over the empire with a grand feast that lasts for 180 days. He orders Queen Vashti to appear in front of the guests and flaunt her beauty during this time, dehumanizing and objectifying her. The king becomes enraged when Vashti refuses to comply, claiming her autonomy. Ahasuerus, worried that Vashti's disobedience would encourage other women to rebel against their husbands, decides to exile her after consulting with his advisors. He calls for young ladies from all over his realm to compete in a beauty pageant in order to choose a new queen. One of these women is the Jewish orphan Esther, who was raised by her cousin Mordecai. Esther is selected to be the new queen because of her grace and beauty, which enthrall the king. At Mordecai's insistence, Esther hides her Jewish identity despite her new status because she is aware of the risks involved in disclosing her background to a court that might harbor prejudice against her people. Number 6. Mordecai's loyalty and Haman's hatred. Mordecai continues to be Esther's unwavering protector and advisor as she gets used to life as queen. He frequently sits at the king's gates so he can keep a watch on her and the goings-on at the court. One day, Mordecai overhears two of the king's eunuchs plotting to kill Ahasuerus while he is at the gate. Realizing how serious the situation is, he alerts Esther, who quickly tells the king and gives Mordecai credit for his faithfulness. The royal chronicles document this bravery, guaranteeing that Mordecai's contribution is never forgotten. In the meantime, Haman, a senior official in the king's court, receives a promotion and demands that everyone show him respect by bending down. But Mordecai declines to bow, citing his dedication to worshiping only God and his Jewish faith. This perceived slight severely damages Haman's pride, and he is overcome with rage. Haman uses a game of lots to influence King Ahasuerus into signing a decree that calls for the annihilation of all Jews within the empire as part of his revenge plot. In addition to endangering the lives of countless innocent people, this decree paves the way for Esther's valiant intervention. Number 5. Esther's dilemma and decision to act. After learning of Haman's scheme to exterminate his people, Mordecai writes to Esther pleading with her to utilize her power as queen to step in and defend her people. He begs her to understand that she is not immune from the approaching catastrophe because she is a princess, speculating that maybe she was brought to the palace for such a time as this. Fear paralyzes Esther at first. She fears that she will be executed if she approaches the king without being invited. She is aware of the seriousness of the situation and her own role in ensuring her people's survival, though. She decides to take action after giving it some thought and praying. In order to gain strength and discernment as she gets ready to face the king, Esther asks the Jews of Susa to observe a 3-day fast. In a time of crisis, this act of solidarity strengthens the Jewish community and demonstrates their shared faith and resolve. Following the fast, Esther dresses in royal robes and goes to meet King Ahasuerus. When he sees her, he holds out his golden scepter, indicating that she is welcome and that she may now speak. Number 4. The banquet and revelation. In preparation for disclosing her true identity and Haman's evil scheme, Esther extends an invitation to King Ahasuerus and Haman to a lavish feast. She is filled with a mixture of anxiety and resolve during the first banquet, but she is hesitant to ask and instead invites them to another feast the next day. Haman leaves the banquet feeling honored by the queen's attention, but his spirits soon drop when he sees Mordecai at the king's gate. Haman grows enraged by Mordecai's persistent refusal to bow and becomes fixated on getting even. Finally, finding the courage, Esther tells the king that she is Jewish during the second banquet. She begs to save her own life as well as the lives of her people, claiming that Haman is planning to destroy them. This revelation is a crucial turning point in the story because it reveals Haman's betrayal and emphasizes Esther's courage in putting her life in danger to save her community. As the king understands the seriousness of Haman's actions and the danger posed to Esther, The tension in the room grows, setting up a dramatic confrontation. Number 3. Haman's downfall. After discovering Haman's betrayal and hearing Esther's plea, the king becomes enraged and demands to know what should be done to the man who has planned such a terrible scheme against the queen and her people. Unaware that the man is the object of the king's wrath, Haman proposes that the monarch give this man royal robes, a horse, and a spectacular procession through the city to declare his greatness. To Haman's horror, Ahasuerus gives him the task of performing this honor for the man he despises, Mordecai. Haman is forced to lead Mordecai through the streets while yelling praises for his virtue, which completes his humiliation. Haman's previous plans for destruction stand in stark contrast to this public act of honor for Mordecai. Soon afterward, the king finds out about Haman's scheme to harm Esther and her people. Out of rage, he gives the order for Haman to be hanged on the gallows that Haman had built for Mordecai. This unexpected turn of events highlights the idea of poetic justice, in which the villain bears the consequences of his own deeds, and serves as a potent reminder of the dire consequences of pride and malice. Number 2. The new decree in Jewish victory. After Haman is put to death, Esther and Mordecai inherit his estate, and the king gives them permission to issue a new proclamation safeguarding the Jewish people. Now in a position of power, Mordecai issues a new decree allowing the Jews to protect themselves from any aggressors. The Jewish community is given the ability to rebel against their enemies. When this decree is spread throughout the empire, the Jews are now free to arm themselves and get ready for the day of reckoning, as the king's new order not only overturns the earlier directive. The Jews successfully defend themselves on the day that Haman's original decree was supposed to go into effect, winning a significant victory over those who were trying to harm them. Their enemies are terrified of the Jews, and many decide to become Jews rather than incur the wrath of the Jewish people. With this victory, the Jewish community in Persia experienced a momentous shift from a day of impending doom to one of celebration and deliverance. Once on the verge of extinction, the Jewish people have shown their resiliency and strength by coming together as a unified and powerful group. Number 1. The celebration of Purim. The creation of the Purim festival, which honors the Jewish people's miraculous deliverance from extinction, marks the story's conclusion. All of the Jews in the empire receive letters from Mordecai and Esther telling them to celebrate this day by giving gifts to one another and feasting. Purim turns into a time for group celebration, complete with festive meals, the reading of Esther aloud, and charitable giving to the less fortunate. In the face of hardship, the festival serves as a reminder of the value of bravery, faith, and community. In addition to saving her people, Esther's boldness and cunning ensure that she will always be remembered as a Jewish historical hero. Her tale serves as an example of how one person's deeds can have a significant influence on history, encouraging future generations to oppose injustice and uphold their sense of self. Purim is a holiday that highlights resilience and hope, serving as a reminder to Jews of their survival and the value of coming together to face obstacles. Queen Esther's story is a powerful illustration of bravery, faith, and the ability of one person to make a difference. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.